right. Well, dobré ráno, kuchaři. Good morning and welcome. Thank you for donning your aprons, rolling up your sleeves, and joining us yet again for another cooking demonstration. My name is leah. I'm the Vice President of Sokol San Francisco, and I'll be serving as today's moderator. I'm delighted to introduce three other Sokol San Francisco members who happen to be incredible cooks, who'll be teaching us to make three different types of dumplings today. Today's session will be taught primarily in English with some Czech sprinkled in. Yes, I will be using my famous cooking puns. I'm on fire today, I'm just warning you. A couple of quick housekeeping notes. This session is being recorded so that you can access it afterwards should you need to refer back to anything you may have missed. Anything that goes into the chat will also be emailed to you so you can see questions and answers afterwards. Speaking of which, if you have any questions at any point during the session, feel free to chat them to us. There will also be a Q&A at the end of this session. And if you have any kind of knedlík emergency after this session, you will have a way to connect with us afterwards. If you have issues with video or audio, let us know right away and we'll try to fix those. And finally, you should have already received the recipes for the knedlíky, but if you happen to miss those, we will email those to you after this session as well. So with that, let me introduce today's cooks. Milena, who'll be making yeast dough fruit dumplings. There she is waving. Hi.
Ahoy.
Ahoy. Jana, who'll be making the gluten-free version. Hi, Jana. And finally, Leah, say hi. She'll be making cream cheese dumplings. Milena, please take it away.
Okie dokie. My recipe takes the longest time, so that's why I'm starting. And as yeast dough is my favorite dough for knedlíky, for bread, for ovocné knedlíky, pretty much for, you know, vánočka. I just love working with yeast dough. And the yeast takes some time to come back to life. So we need to start with the starter, with the kvásek. And I will, if Tess can take the camera. Mm-hmm. We're gonna mix. I have already everything prepared. So here are 3 cups of flour, the recipe calls from. So from there, I will take a big heaping tablespoon of flour, put it in there, then put the yeast, which I use the dry yeast, and a tablespoon of sugar, and mix it all together. And the liquid and the sugar and the flour provide food for the yeast. So the yeast is gonna wake up. And I want you to see the difference. This is the kvásek I made about 15 minutes ago, because this is the one I'm going to be actually using for the recipe, because this one would not have enough time to rise. But you can see how it bubbles up, and so it's all happy eating all the sugar and all the flour. So this is what is going to happen with the kvásek. And I'm done with the kvásek, so I can hand it over to Jana.
All right, good morning. My name is Jana, and I grew up on fruit dumplings, on ovocné knedlíky. So as the mother of 2 large growing boys, I try to help them grow larger and stronger. Unfortunately, about 10 years ago, I discovered that I became gluten intolerant. Gastrointestinal bloating, lethargy, all sorts of issues, and it pointed to gluten. And it's more like 15 years ago now. 15 years ago, there weren't a lot of flours out there. No one was baking gluten-free breads or muffins. I live in Oakland, California. We have an amazing bakery called Mariposa Baking. That was one of the first ones that came out and made amazing gluten-free muffins with grated zucchini and carrots and amazing things. So when I was asked if I was interested in trying to make these gluten-free dumplings, I I jumped at the chance. So the recipe is still a work in progress for me as I keep tweaking it, but here's the start of it. We begin with some millet and some basmati rice. So I'm going to take, the recipe calls for a 1/4 cup of rice, 1/4 cup of basmati rice, and 3/4 cups of millet. That's sort of what it looks like. It's what the birds eat. My neighbor has a cockatiel. It's their favorite treat. So so I have this millet and rice mixture. I put it in a strainer and I'm going to rinse it really quickly. I'm going to put it in my pot. So I've got a pot. I have my rinsed millet and rice mixture and 2 cups of water. I'm going to set this mixture to boil, cover and simmer for 20 minutes. All right, Leah, are you next?
Hi, my name is Leah, and I will prepare or show you how to make the cheese, tvarohové ovocné knedlíky. It's a very simple recipe. I was always working full-time with the 2 kids and whole family. It was always very hard to prepare anything during the weekday. So that was the perfect food, which was fast. It was yummy and family enjoy it. So I would like to share with you this recipe. So first of all, you should start it with the pot of the water because the recipe is so fast. So add it a little bit salt and start to boil the pot with the water. Then you will take wondra and you will pour 2 cups of wondra to the bowl. Then you will take 1 cream cheese and just dump there. And then take 1 egg and put on the bowl. And you will try to make the dough from these 3 ingredients. It will be a little bit tight, like it will take time to make it up. It will be, you know, you will have a feeling that you cannot make the dough from that, but you need to work together with the ingredients. Once you will make the dough, then I will come back and I will show you how to put the fruit inside of the dumpling. You can choose whatever you want. I choose strawberry because they are round and they are easy to put inside of the dumpling. But you can use any fruit. And so I think that I am done right now. I'm mixing my dough and I will show later on how it looked like and I can pass to another participant.
Leah, before you do that, we've got 2 quick questions for you. How many ounces is the brick of cream cheese, if you happen to know?
1.
No, it's ounce. No, 1 brick is 8 ounces.
1 box of the cream cheese.
And that's 8 ounces.
8 ounces. And is there any way that you can lower, I know you'll show us the final dough, but can you lower your camera at all to show us kind of what it looks like in this phase?
And you're
My hands are dirty, ladies. I don't know. Do you see that?
I know we see the edge of
not yet.
Dear boobs.
Lift up the bowl.
We see next chest here.
Yeah.
So this way?
That works. Yes. Up.
Yep.
So I mean, I'm still working on that, right?
Right. And so you'll show us the final version. I have a question. So you said you're using strawberries. What if it's, you know, wintertime or strawberries aren't in season? Can we use frozen fruit and should we defrost it first, or what would you say would be a good technique with frozen fruit?
I won't do frozen. I will just put frozen inside, but work very fast, because if the water will start to, you know, I mean, the water can affect the closing of the dumpling. Really, you need to work fast with this dough.
And I have one thing to add. If you have frozen fruit, you can put some regular sugar and mix it up together, because the fruit is going to be wet, so the sugar will stick to the outside, and it's going to take care of some of the liquid the fruit is going to release this while you're working.
Right.
Or you can use some like vanilla pudding mixed with the sugar, because again, you know, that's something what will soak up the moisture.
Yeah. Milena is expert, so listen to Milena.
And Milena, I think it's your turn.
Okay, my turn. It's to make the dough. So you already saw the yeast I showed you earlier. And so in the about 5 minutes, this is how the yeast I made with you guys looks like. So it's not quite ready. So if you compare the two, you know, this one has way more bubbles. So I'm gonna use that one because that one's already nice and woken up. So I'm putting the 3 cups of flour in the bowl. I already put a pinch of salt in there. I have 1 egg that goes in there. And we're gonna put all of the milk and sugar and yeast mixture. And I use my machine. I'm a big fan of that because it saves you a lot of work. But if you don't have one, you can use the handheld mixer with the spiral attachment, or you can, my grandpa used to use a wooden spoon and just knead and knead and knead and knead until it was all mixed together. But as I said, I'm a big fan of technology, so I'm using my machine. So I'm gonna start it on slow because you want the wet and the dry ingredients mixed together really good. If you start on fast, first your kitchen's gonna be a mess because everything's gonna fly out of your bowl. And second, the dough really prefers to be mixed slowly. And once everything, it's kind of like a shaggy mess, the dough, then you turn on the faster. So it takes about 2 minutes on slow and then maybe 4 minutes on the faster. And it will like when you look at the recipe in the attachment, you can see the phases in the bowl. Like first, you know, it's really dry and then it slowly becomes totally unified and it will stop sticking to the bowl and it's gonna be kind of satiny soft. So I will start on the machine. I will turn off my sound so you can hear all the other people.
And with that, I think we're back to Leah.
Oh, okay. The dough is done. Almost. Okay, do you see that?
Yeah, nice dough.
So I've mixed in the inside of the bowl, and then I will work very quickly on making a little bit softer. And then I will show you. So you will take the dough, you will take the piece, whatever you will decide it, right? You will make sort of flat circle. And you will put strawberry, which you already peel, right? You wash and peel from the green. And I will pick up one, put inside, and just close it. You know, you are just closing. The dough is very elastic, and then you are making the roll, the ball. And the ball look like this. Easy, easy peasy. You know, like you will take piece of the dough, make the flat, put the fruit inside, take the I will do another one. So I'm taking this, right? I am making sort of flat. Make flat circle, right? Do you see that? I'm taking strawberry, I'm putting in the middle. And then I take the edges of the dough and sort of glue together, right? Like make sure that it's all close, sort of. And then take and roll. And it's done. Right?
Very good, Lau. How do you protect them from opening? I think that's a common problem, right? They come apart.
Well, you need to put, so again, the circle. That is easy. Take the strawberry and then look at what I'm doing. Like I'm taking the edges and sort of like connecting the edges together, right? Do you see? And then I'm taking another side and just sort of put on the tip of the knedlike. And then I'm taking another one and put there. It's like dough, right? And then if you will see that it's a hole, you will just patch with the finger, right? And then when you make this kind of movement, you are sort of sealing, and you need to make sure that it's not open, right? Otherwise, if you will put in the water, it will just, the strawberry will go out. Do I need to repeat another one?
I don't know. There are a couple more questions. What if you wanted to put a small berry inside? What if you have really small, anything really?
Well, you can put blueberry, you can put anything, but I mean, you will probably put more of them, right? So it's a little bit more fruit inside of the dough. You just don't have a dough and one blueberry, right? So I'm purposely selecting smaller strawberry because I usually will make like up to 15 knedlike. But if you use the bigger one, you will have a less knedlike, you know, it's simple, you know? So again, like dough is done, it's like Play-Doh. You are sort of playing with that. You are making, you know, the circle, right? From the dough, put the strawberry in the middle. And again, you are tying on the tip all the edges, making sure that this is, you know, connected, you know, and checking that it doesn't have any hole and all is like connected together, and then making this movement and you are done. So I already have a like 4 knedlike done.
Fantastic. And we're about ready to move to Milena, but I just want to ask you 2 super quick questions, Leo. So is there anything you can do once, if a knedlike does open in the boiling water, is there anything to do to sort of protect, you know, at that point to disaster manage knedlike?
Disaster is done.
Okay. Nothing you can.
You need to make sure that you are all connected, no hole, you work with the dough, you know, and that's about it.
And then what about big fruit, like a peach? What shapes or sort of how do you get small pieces? Do you cut it into a shape that's easy to mold around?
Yes. I mean, you can do like, I don't know, pieces, you know, from peach, you can make probably for dumpling, you know, from one peach. It's all depend, what do you want? Which fruit do you want? How big it is? You know, how many serving you would like to make. I mean, it's actually good. My kids, my both daughter, they play with that. You know, it's a great activity for the parents because you can involve the kids. They will play with you. They will cook with you. You know, I mean, it's a good quality time between mother and kids and family. I think that it's just very easy to make.
It looks that way. Yeah. Thank you, Leo. We're going to hand it off to Milena.
Okay. All right. Our dough is already mixed up. I can mix it up. So I will show you, it just came from all the powdery stuff. It's now totally one big chunk of dough. Can take it out. it is not sticky. And it's nice and firm. You kind of want it nice and firm because then the dumplings will hold shape better. And I will put it back into the bowl, and we want to cover it up. As people who know me know, I use shower caps to cover the bowl. They're reusable, so they're friendly to the environment. And now we're just gonna leave it sit. We're gonna leave it. Where do I get the shower caps? When you stay in a hotel, it comes with your room. You bring it home with you. So we're gonna leave it in a warm place to rise. Again, as I've said, it takes a long time. I already made one batch earlier today. So this one's already rising. And actually, I'm gonna show you something. Can you hold this for me? Like when you stick your finger in the dough, you see it's still left the indentation, but it's fairly softer. If you do it into the one I just made, that one is hard to stick your finger in. So as the dough rises, it kind of softens up. So when you're done mixing, if you think, wow, this is way too stiff, don't worry about it. It's gonna loosen up a little bit. And I have just one thing to add to what Leah said, when the disaster of the knedlik, if the knedlik opens up, don't worry about it. You put butter and sugar on it and everything will taste good. And we can go to Jana. I think Jana's next, right?
Yes, I believe so. So the next step for me is my millet is still cooking. It boiled. I have another 7 minutes left on my piggy timer, but I did the same thing that Milena did. I made a batch earlier because once the dough starts, once the mixture, the rice and millet mixture is done, you need to let it cool. And it takes about 45 minutes to cool. And so I have a second set that I did a little bit earlier this morning, and it's already cool. It's in the bowl. It's sort of, it looks sort of like a gruel, and all of the 2 cups of water have been absorbed by the mixture. All right. And so my next step is going to be, and I was actually, while you were talking, I was cutting up my fruit, and because this is an experimental, still an experiment for me, I'm going to put lots of different fruit in my knedlik, just so that you can see right now. I have some strawberries, I have figs, I have very large peaches, so I've quartered them, and I'm going to try some dried apricots as well, because I couldn't find any fresh ones, and then some candied dates. I need Georgia to mute, please. Okay, so hang on. So I'm going to, next step is I'm going to take my bowl right here, and we have a Whole Foods nearby, and it is, Nicole, I need Georgia to mute. And so I'm going to use what's called the Birch Bender's Micro Pancakery Paleo Diet. It is grain-free, gluten-free, no sugar added. And the recipe calls for about a cup. So I've got my 1/4 cup containers. And the tricky part is, right, American measurements are the ounces that are here are by weight, while a 1/4 cup is by volume. So it's a little tricky to cook with American measurements because I should be weighing my flour, but I'm going to do 1, 2, I'm not an exact cook. It's my mother's fault. I blame her fully. 3, 4, she never measured 2 perfectly. 4. So you start with a cup of this mixture. I'm going to start mixing it, And I'm gonna see if I need more. The recipe says 1/2 cup to 1.5 cups. Based on my experiments this week, a cup is a good place to start. So I'm going to start mixing. I'm gonna start first with my wooden spoon, and then I'm going to move on to using my hands. All right, so I'm gonna be working with that. And do I need to hand off to someone, or
Can we
am I still on?
can we ask you 2 questions, Jana?
Absolutely.
So you're using a whole variety of fruit. Should the fruit be at room temperature, ideally?
Ideally, I would say that frozen fruit is not a great thing to use, because as it thaws in the boiling water, it's going to let off so much water and get soggy. So yes, everything I'm using is room temperature. Strawberries, of course, the dried apricots, dates, and my quartered peach. You know.
Can you use vegetables?
Wow, absolutely. Maybe broccoli. I don't know what I would use. Brussels sprouts. I don't know. We're getting bold now.
Absolutely. And Heather has pointed out that the Birch Benders mix is great for pancakes and waffles, and that she's found it at Costco. Just a note.
Thank you. Great tip.
One more question. Canned apricots, could those be used if anybody happens to know, if any of our chefs happen to know?
You can use them, but they're already kind of from the compote, they're already soft. So they're gonna get even softer. But again, you put butter and sugar on it and everything is good.
I think butter and sugar solves a lot of problems in life.
Yeah, totally.
We are going to hand it over to Leah, who should have her knedlike more or less done, Leah. So what to do at this point?
Leah, you need to unmute, please.
Yes,
Oh, there you go.
I'm
Perfect.
muting. So
Good
I'm
job.
doing the last one, and let me cover up and connect together the same way as I saw before. So I have a 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17 knedlike.
Can we see them?
Yeah. Okay, let me move this.
We want proof.
Oh, I don't know how to do that. Do you see that?
We do. They're beautiful.
So yeah, they are ready to go. I think one will pop. See, this is not good. This means that the strawberry was soft and I cannot glue together. And on that point, I cannot do anything about that. If the red stuff is getting out of the knedlike, forget about that. But the rest is fine. Rest look like good. I will check the water if it's boiling, because it has to be boiling water. It's still not boiling, believe or not. And I've been boiling for a while. So once the water will boil, you will just take and put the knedlike inside of the pot, right? You need to take a spatula, and you need to, because the knedlike will go on the bottom of the pot, right? So you need to put a little bit up so they are circling, they are not sitting on the bottom, and then you will boil for 7 minutes. The knedlike will be done. I will show you later. Then I use this, like take them out, put on the plate, and then we will go further once my turn will be, right?
That's great, Leah. Thank you.
So it's very simple. It's something which we all are doing with the boiling stuff.
Perfect. Milena,
Okay.
we're back to you at this point. And we do have some
I
questions.
saw a question from Simonka, if you can use chocolate. I have chocolate ready. I've never done it before, but why not try today, right? So we will see how it turns out.
My niece loves chocolates.
So I think we can totally see what's gonna happen, but I don't see a reason why it would not work. So when I wrap my fruit in it, I think that's gonna be fine.
Where'd you get that chocolate?
And I got this chocolate at the airplane on the way home from Prague. I use everything. I am a big fan of using everything what's given to me.
Well, Milena, if people are going to be creative, there's a question here about vegetables again. Would you steam or cook them before filling the dumplings if you're using vegetables?
You know, maybe broccoli you might have to blanch, you know, for a few minutes. I think there is not enough time of the knedliken because the knedlik will cover the broccoli. So by the time the water or the temperature gets to the broccoli, it would be time for it to get out. So I think it would be pretty tough. I am kind of intrigued by the idea of having sweet vegetables. I've never played with that, but I think I would blanch cauliflower or broccoli or zucchini. Hey, zucchini might work. But again, I would blanch it and then let it dry on paper towels because, you know, you as we talked about earlier, you want the fruit to be dry so it wouldn't, you know, so it would be easy to close. So I think that's what I think. I don't have any experience, so I'm guessing. I'm making an educated guess.
And there's a great tip coming in, asparagus tips would be great without cooking first, says Heather. And I think so too. That sounds really good.
Yeah, so. Is it, whose time is it? Jana, are you ready to make your dumplings?
I am ready. Let's see, my second batch. So I'm multitasking actually, because my millet and rice just finished boiling, and I've turned it off. And, you know, it's hard to see. It sort of looks what, you know, sort of any rice in a pot looks like. And I still have quite a bit of water in there. So I'm going to leave it covered a little bit longer. I have a feeling I may have put it on simmer too soon and my liquid stopped boiling. So I'm going to let that continue to boil. I'll show you what it looks like. Here's my ball of dough. I actually added another quarter of the mix. So I'm now up to 1 1/4 cups of the gluten-free pancake mix. I washed my hands and I'm able to handle the dough without it being too wet, for lack of a better word. And here we go. Can you see that, everybody? So here's my bowl. And same thing. It's now I use, mine behaves differently. The dough behaves differently because it's non-glutinous. I mean, that's what gluten is. It is the glue that holds all of the ingredients together. And I don't have that ingredient. And my hands are getting, so I make the same pancake. And I put in my strawberry. So I'm trying to see if you can see me. I'm not on twice, so I can't see myself cook. And my dumplings are smaller than the traditional dumplings. They, the ones that when you'll see Milena cook, mine end up like this because also they don't rise again. They're so, and also dough that is lacking gluten has a really hard time binding together. So you don't want to make things that are too big. So here's one of them. I'm going to try another one, and I'm going to put the apricot in it. So mine are also going to be a little distorted because the strawberry is so nice and round. So it's easy to make a round knedlik. Do you like how I'm declining my declination of my nouns here? So here's my knedlik, and it's going to be a little bit flatter because the apricot is a little bit flatter, but it works well. It's a little messy, but that's part of the fun. And one more maybe with the quartered peach. And then I'll hand it off to the next person. So here we go. Here's my pancake. Here's my quartered plum. It's a little bit mushier, so I'm going to add more. And just so the pinching of the dough is a standard feature, making sure that everything is well covered. And I'm noticing that the dough gets sort of, it's happier. And when I roll it, it gets less sticky. So here we go. Here's my 3, and I'll hand it off to the next person as I make more.
Before you do, Jana, we do have some questions that are specific to you, I think.
Okay.
So Mishka says that she was surprised that the rice seems to be whole and not mashed or blended up. Do the rice grains remain in the final version?
You know, they do a little bit. And that is interesting that you can actually taste it and it's not ground. I think that's an interesting, variation to try. I must say my first time around, I accidentally swapped the proportion, more rice than millet instead of more millet than rice. And they were like rice balls, like tapioca rice balls. So it was totally not it. So the more that we can hide the rice in the dough, I think the better. So I'm going to hold that thought and try that in my next batch.
That sounds good. Can you repeat how much of the pancake mix you ended up using?
1 1/4 cup. Last time I did it, 1 cup was enough. And this time around, it just felt a little too sticky when I was mixing it. And so I added another 1/4 cup. And here again is the problem. I'm measuring by volume, not by weight. Maybe the last time I did it, I packed the mix down more. So I may have had more of the mix. I was fluffing it up today. So that's the problem with the American English measurement system. If I knew how much I need of that flour I needed by weight, it would have been more exact.
I have one more thing to add, that it also has to do how old your ingredients are. If the rice is older or had been stored in warmer environment, it's going to be drier, so it's going to soak up more water. So you always, like, when you look at any recipe, take it as a guideline. And if you need to add if you need to add liquids or add dry ingredients, do it in a little amounts, and you will be fine.
That's great advice. Yeah. There's one more. Do we need the dumpling? Do we need the dumpling in cold? I think maybe the question is if you need to let the dough, well, do we need the dumpling in cold?
Like before keeping maybe the dough in a freezer, or some dumpling before boil into the water, keep them cool.
Oh, in the refrigerator, you mean, like keep them cold? That's a good question. I mean, within 15 minutes, they go in the water. So I would think not. But yeah, dough tends to be stiffer when it's cold. So yeah. I know my mother always used to, if she had leftovers, she didn't boil all of them on the first night. My mother used to make the dumplings and put half of them in the fridge and make them the next day. But so she preferred to not have them cooked. She stored the raw dumplings in the refrigerator and cooked them and had them fresh. And so.
Thank you, Jana. And I think we're ready for Milena.
We're ready for Leah, right? Leah, are yours done or no?
Okay, so now I'm boiling. I will go for another like 5 minutes, maybe
Okay.
4 minutes. Okay, so once I'm done, I will let you know, and I can show how I'm taking the dumpling out, how I'm serving, and I will be pretty much done.
Okay, so I can start rolling.
Yes.
So I will show you again. Remember when I stuck my finger in it, it had a really deep hole. Now it kind of springs back. So this one's ready. I made this one about an hour ago. So that's how long you want it to let it rise. Okay, you can come here. So you put it on your working surface. And knead it a few times. So, but you can feel that it's much softer than it was once you finished. And then you're going to roll a rope. And I already have the filling prepared here. I had some apples, so I peeled them and cored them and put some cinnamon on them. This is chunks of peach. Then I have strawberry. I have the chocolate, and then I have some blueberries. So we can play with all of that. And let's take a knife, and let's make about 12 pieces, about the same size. And I like to put my dumplings, I have a cookie sheet, which I put saran wrap on. And again, it's easier to clean then you can put some spray, canola oil spray. And it helps, when you will be lifting your knedlíks and putting them in the boiling water, but it's not necessary. You can use flour for dusting, or you can do what I did, but again, it's not a big deal. So again, I start like the girls did, just kind of squish it until you have a kind of patty. You take the piece of fruit, put it in there, and pinch and pinch and pinch. Close all the holes and roll it so you give it a nice shape. And we have the first one. Now I'm gonna do the chocolate one. So I'm gonna do one piece small, one piece big, and surround it with the dough and pinch it all together. And I will put those on a side so I remember that those two are the chocolate ones. I'm gonna take the wrapper and maybe put the wrapper there with them, so I will remember that those two are the chocolate ones. And then you just keep working with all your pieces of dough until you have it all. Oh, I'm gonna show you the blueberries because somebody asked about the smaller fruit, so I will show you that. So you make sure there are no holes in your patty, the dough patty. And I usually want the middle be thicker. I don't know if you can see it, that the middle is thicker, because then you're gonna be pulling the sides over and pinching them together, which is gonna make that thicker. So take a few pieces of the blueberries, kind of push them in the middle. I think we can do a few more. And start rolling the dough over and pinch it together. Okay, they're all in. And it's nice and round. You can do an apple now. And the yeast dough is a little more forgiving when it comes to the shape, because as it will rise, it will be more like a ball. When you have the non-risen, like the tvarohový or the gluten-free, they will not rise. Both of those kinds will stay pretty much the same as you shape them. When it comes to shape, the yeast dough is more forgiving. Okay, so all kinds of fruit, just depends what you put in there.
And Milena, do you have any flour or oil on your workspace there? It seems like you're kind of just
No.
Yeah.
No. Because the dough, when it's all worked up properly, it's not sticky anymore. So it kind of has the Play-Doh consistency.
Got it. There's a question whether you can freeze it says freeze them, and I don't know if it means the dough or the final product, but how about we ask you both? Can you freeze the dough? Freeze 50
You know, I would, you know, I've never done it. I've never done it because, you know, my family usually eats the whole thing in one sitting. Maybe if there are any leftovers, then we'll just steam it the next day. Maybe I would cook them and then freeze them, you know, because I'm not sure how the yeast would like to be in the freezer.
Right.
If anybody else has, you know, who has more experience with frozen yeast dough, you know, they can put it in the chat. You know, I love to learn new things every day. So that would be great if anybody has experience with that. I don't.
There are more questions about how long to freeze, but it sounds like we're not sure, right? How long they would, yeah. And there's a great suggestion by the way, trying half a strawberry with a piece of chocolate. How about that, Mileno?
Oh, I can do that one. I need to get more chocolate, but I will do that. I will do that. And interesting suggestion. Sounds delicious. So we'll do that. And we can go to Leah. I think she's ready.
Yeah, I am ready. So my dumplings are done. And I will move the pad closer to my plate. So, I mean, I will use this, right? I don't know how to call that. And I'm basically taking the dumplings. So they look like this when they are done. And so I will take them out and basically serve them immediately because they are, I mean, froze cheese dumpling, I don't think so. It's a good idea because I mean that dough will be very hard after freezing. It's more like steam it a little bit, but I will prefer to eat them at once. You know, like you do your knedlíky and you are using them immediately. So I will put like, let's say 4 knedlíky for myself. So this is the knedlíky. Do you see that?
No, can you put it up higher?
No.
Higher? Okay.
Tilt the, yes, that's better. Yep.
Do you see them?
Yes.
And so the 4 of them, I will, you know, basically serve myself immediately. And I will put, and as I said, I mean, I prefer cottage cheese. You can have different ingredients on top of that. And then I will put poppy seed. You can put just sugar. If you don't like anything else, you can put, you know, cocoa, whatever you would like to put. So some sugar, and I melted a little bit of butter, and I put the butter on top of that, and you can serve them.
You're getting some compliments, Leo, and some threats of people that are going to come over any minute now. You've got a hungry audience here. Well done. Remind us how
Well, I have a plenty. Whoever would like to come, they can come.
There are over 50 people are watching you right now. About how long did you boil them, and how do you tell if they're done?
No, I mean, it's between 7 to 10 minutes. It's a recipe which I am using. I'm not putting you know, fork inside of that. I'm just making sure that they are getting out of the bottom of the pot and they are sort of boiling, right? Because you will put them inside, even though the water is boiling, then they will go on the bottom, right? And the water will stop boiling. So you need to wait a little bit. They will start to boil. You will put them up, you know, mix a little bit during the time, 7 to 10 minutes. Now it was 10 minutes because I was waiting for my turn, and then they are done. Very easy recipe, very tasteful.
Fantastic. Somebody's suggesting that farmer's cheese is the closest to tvaroh here in the States. I didn't realize that.
Oh, okay.
Good to know.
I didn't know either.
Yeah.
I'm using the cottage cheese, you know, the classic cottage cheese, small curd. But any suggestion are welcome.
Agreed.
Great.
So
Can
I'm basically done.
Great.
Good.
Can I just
How
jump
to
in real
protect from
quickly?
overcook? I
Can
mean,
I
the
jump
question
in?
came how to protect from overcook. If you will boil from 7 to 10 minutes, you are not overcooking.
Thank you, Leo. And I think, Yano, you can jump in if you need to.
Okay.
I do need to. Okay. I need to get mine boiling, but actually mine are going to get steamed. So I'm preparing them on the steamer, and I'm going to actually, so that I can get them in, I've got a big pot in the background here. You can see it. It's got an inch, maybe less of water. I'm trying to figure out where my camera is right here. And I have fig, dates, dried apricots, strawberries, and peaches in my batch. And I'm gonna get them just to steam.
That of water.
Yes, I'm steaming them for about the same time, about 8 minutes. And I'm just gonna make more while Milena, I think, is next.
Yeah, I have all of mine done, the first batch. So all these are either strawberry with chocolate or apple with chocolate or peach with chocolate, so, or only chocolate. So we're gonna cook those first. And because I know Taz would like to have his lunch and he can't have chocolate, I will do a few of them, few of the other ones in a separate pot. And I have a big pot, really large pot, because they, once you drop them in the hot water, which now they need to rest for about 15 minutes. So we have time, but that will about take the time for the water to come to boil, but they will rise once you dip them in the water. So you don't want to overcrowd them. If you do not have a big pot, just cook them in first half and second half in 2 batches, because if you overcrowd them, they lose their shape. You know, they're still edible and gonna be good, but if you go for the pretty knedlik on your plate, you wanna make them in 2 batches. So I'm gonna, they're all rolled, so I'm gonna cover them with a towel. And we're gonna let them rise for about at least 10 minutes or so. So we can go back to Yana.
Okay. Here we go. I'm mine are boiling way too fast. The water's boiling way too fast. So I'm going to cover them. So I'm, like I said, we're all, I think, either boiling or after boiling. The next thing that I'm going to do is, you know, take half a stick of butter, put it in the microwave and melt it. Now, the tricky part about my microwaving butter is it melts, it's all good, and then it explodes. So I always make sure to cover it, and I do it at like 10 or 15 seconds and then 5 seconds, so that I don't have to clean out my microwave. Or if you have a little sauce pot, which I guess I could do as well, I can just melt it on the stove. So I'm gonna melt some butter, and I'm going to make my cinnamon sugar mixture, because I don't have a local place that sells the poppy seed mixture. That was always magical as a child. I loved them. My mother even made noodles, pasta noodles with poppy seeds mixture and sugar. Oh, childhood memories. So, right, I'm just going to put some sugar in my bowl. Right. Good job, Yana. White on white. There's sugar in there, I promise. And then lots of cinnamon. And then I'm going to mix the two, and I don't have a spoon. So this is going to be, this is my mixture. Where's my camera? Here we go. There's my cinnamon sugar mixture. I probably need to double this because it's going to be about a spoonful per knedlik. So I need to make more. So that's what I'm doing right now. I have about 4 minutes left on my timer. And Leah, have you made your, she's eating, I think. She's already, do you want to show us your finished product?
They're done. She finished them.
What did you put on? Oh, okay. So I was working, so I didn't see the finished product with the cottage cheese on top.
Leo, you are muted, and there are lots of questions rolling in. I promise we'll get to them. It's a little sensitive timing at this point. Go ahead, Leo.
Okay, let me show the serving and take the picture. So again, I have 4 of them. I will add the cottage cheese, right? And I will put the sugar on top of that. And I will put the melted butter on that. Let me make nicer because I already ate it, you know. So this is another serving. I don't know. Do you see that?
No. You have to camera down or plate up.
Well, if I will do this.
Angle.
I don't know.
Yeah. We'll send
Yeah, sort of.
you at the end.
Yeah, this way. Yeah?
That
You
looks
see
good.
that? Yeah, okay. And let me take the picture right now. Okay.
Okay, who is ready to be next?
Do you want to go over the questions people asked?
Yes.
This time.
Okay, so good. So the poppy seeds, are they from the can or are they dry seeds?
They're dry seeds. They actually, I bring mine from Czech, and I already bring the letima. And if you, so this one looks like this. If you go to Czechia, you can bring them with you. I got mine at Kaufland. But if you buy them here, you can get them on the internet, and usually they come whole. So I have an old-fashioned coffee grinder, you know, kind of the one you do bzz, 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 kind of the tube one. I can show you, and it takes about 15 seconds. So this is, I don't do coffee in it anymore. I just do spices. So it's like, it looks like this. You just put about a 1/4 cup, and then you just push, and it grinds it. I don't think you would want to put the whole seeds. I think they would be a little too crunchy. But you know, but again, you know, maybe you like it that way. So please be free. You know, there I saw a note about graham crackers with sugar. That sounds delicious. I've never had that, but sounds really good. So just whatever rocks your boat. You know, this is your lunch, so you dress it up as you like.
Absolutely. I think the tips coming in are fascinating. Marla says her great grandmother used to freeze knedlíky raw. She'd make them with Italian prunes and the yeast dough. So there is that option. Donna says that she freezes yeast dough for kolač cookies, and they freeze very well. So she bakes them when she's ready to have them. Let's see, other questions, or Jana, are you ready at this point? You ready?
I need about 1 more minute before the dumplings are ready to come out. If there's another more, here we go. They're my piggy brain. So yes, so let's see if I can do this. I took the chance and I melted my butter in the microwave. So I took a chance on that, and I'm now going to turn off my pot, and let's take a look. Let's see if they're ready. So it's been 8 minutes. Yeah, they look ready. And again, they're so much more delicate, and I'm always trying really hard to get them out. Of the pot without breaking them in the process. So I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. Here we go.
You will need the camera out. They will go in on one.
Ah. All right. And can I keep going, Milano, or are yours ready to go into the water?
Go in the water.
Okay, I will wait and then press them and cut them open so we can see what they look like when yours are boiling.
Awesome. So these are the chocolate ones. So they will go in this pot, and I put them in with the top side down because the yeast kind of grows up. So by putting them in upside down will give the bottom side time to rise. And oops. So those go in, and you will see how much they will rise. And we want the water bubbling pretty briskly. And here will go the chocolate free. And we will do 4 minutes on one side, then we will flip them over and do 4 minutes on the other side. I'll turn on the timer.
Another person's asking how you determine when they're ready.
Ready to go in the water?
I think when they're done.
You know, done cooking is 4 and 4. That's usually sufficient. And to go ready, you know, it pretty much by the time the water starts boiling, they're ready to go in. So, and it depends how warm your house is, but probably 10-15 minutes should be fine.
Thank you. And did you use salted or unsalted butter?
For what? I have not used any butter yet because that's what you use for the top, but you can use the brown butter for the dressing of your millet.
Perfect. There's a question of whether any of the chefs have made these with potato dough.
No. I know potato dough, which would go with savory dishes, but I guess you could do dumplings too, like fruit dumplings too.
Well, I've done potato, but with the meat and with the sauerkraut, right? That is different.
You could use the same dough. I think the texture would be very similar to the gluten-free, which Jana is making, and you know what? I don't see why not.
Right. Well, when Jana mentioned the poppy seed, we did from potato dough shlanki, which we make a little bit like, I don't know, like dough, but really thin, right? And roll, and then you will boil it and serve with the poppy seed and sugar. And melted butter. That is also memory to the childhood, but it's a very regional because I'm from Morava, so we've done that.
In Czech, we call them šlejšky, but it's the same thing.
Yeah, shlanky, whatever.
And that was another of the dishes we had at school at Meatless Mondays because the butcher shops were closed on Mondays. So every Monday was a vegetarian dish. So it was a lot of sweet lunches, but there was another one of those. You know, we had the fruit dumplings, we had the šlejšky or čulanky, or, you know, a lot of
nugatové, buchtičky nugatové. Yeah. Well, I would like to show the cut, the dumpling, if I can.
I'm just gonna turn, like really quickly turn my dumplings over, Leah, because they're done. They need to be turned over. So you can see how much they grew, that now they're taking most of the pot. So we're just gonna, you kind of just touch them on the side and they will flip over. And that's one. And here's the other one. And we're gonna do 4 more minutes and we're gonna be done with these two. Okay, you can go, Leah.
Oh, okay. Well, I just would like to see the final product with the cut, you know, dumpling and a half, so you can see the fruit, right? Yeah.
And someone has asked, how much poppy seeds do you use?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm not using poppy seed. I'm using the cottage cheese, right?
Everything is to your liking.
Yeah. Poppy seed I'm not usually using. So somebody else needs to speak up for the poppy seed.
Yeah, why don't I take it from here? Because I'm ready to show off my dumplings. And here we are. Poppy seeds, a good heaping teaspoon or tablespoon. So in terms of the dressing on my dumplings, so I've got 3 ready to go, and I've cut open a whole bunch. If you want to see that, here we go. I don't know where the fig went, so, and the date, so I'm guessing they're one of these. Up. So maybe they're over here, I don't know, but they all look absolutely delicious. I'm going to swap. I'm going to take about a teaspoon of my mixture of cinnamon and sugar. Oh gosh, there we go. 2 teaspoons. My melted butter.
Is that salted or unsalted?
Always unsalted. I grew up on unsalted. I've never encountered salted butter except in the United States. So I'm always using sweet unsalted butter. That way I have the option of adding salt or not. So this is always sweet. And then I have a wonderful friend who made some blackberry jam, and it is so good. I'm going to put a little dollop on the top. And there we go. There's my finished product.
Yeah, no, you'd said previously you did the cinnamon and sugar mixture. Do you know approximately what the proportions were of the?
You know, I don't. I think it's like 2 to 1, twice as much sugar as cinnamon, so that it's sort of this nice little brown, you know, yeah. Sort of
And then
dark brown, so 2 to 1.
Do you use cottage cheese? And cottage cheese is used as a topping, right? We've got the cream cheese that was used as the ingredient for Leah's dumplings, but cottage cheese can be used as a garnish, let's say. Is that right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because cottage cheese is like tofu, it really doesn't have a taste. It takes on whatever medium you put it on. And it's less sugary. I've become pre-diabetic, so I definitely notice if I have all 3 of these, I can feel the amount of sugar that I'm eating if it's too much. So that's the nice thing about these, is there doesn't have to be that much sugar. You can just use the cottage cheese or just the poppy seed dressing. So since I don't have poppy seeds and I don't have cottage cheese, I'm using sugar and cinnamon, but I think I would actually personally prefer something less sweet.
Okay, I'm taking them out of the water. My timer went off. There was a question earlier about overcooking. What happens sometimes when you cook them for too long? Oh, tak se srazí. Yeah, I don't really know what the proper English word for that is. They kind of, you know, all the nice bubbles you created in them with the yeast, they kind of shrink and become much more tougher. So you do want to watch time when you do the yeast dough. And I take them out with a spoon with holes. And then I have a skewer ready and just poke holes because you want the steam escape. Again, it's the same reason why you don't want to overcook them, because you want the steam to go out and all those nice holes which the yeast created will stay there and they're going to be nice and pillowy. I will show you in a minute how they look inside. So these are the chocolate ones. So why don't we start putting those on the plate and we can look how they look inside before we cover them up with other goodness. So let's put 2 there. Sharp knife. Oh, so this one has blueberries and strawberries and chocolate. Let's see what's in this one. Oh, this one has an apple and chocolate. There we go. And I don't pre-mix my stuff, you know, toppings. I let everybody to do what they want. So I would just, you know, shake, 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 little bit of cinnamon. Maybe this is a teaspoon of sugar. So we can cover that. My friend Lenka really likes, you know, Granko or Nesquik on them. So we can add those over the chocolate with apple. And I have the poppy seeds. They can go over the blueberry and strawberry. And butter makes everything taste better. Let's do the butter. And I also have yogurt here or Nutella, or as I said, whatever you like, you can put it on. So this one is ready. And I will make 1 plate for Taz so he gets rewarded for his amazing camera work. So these ones do not have any chocolate in it. Okay, so this is this is an apple one. So it's always a surprise. Oh, you're getting honey 2 apple ones. He wants a blueberry. Okay, this one has a blueberry. You see, that one was not sealed properly, so we'll give him a blueberry. He worked hard for it. And we can start with butter. And sugar. And cinnamon. Do you want poppy seeds? Does he?
Yep.
And some poppy seeds. And lunch is ready.
Fantastic. I'm trying to scan back, making sure that we've got all of our questions answered. There's one, it was asked a while ago, can you put something on the outside of the dumplings so you know which fruit is inside so that, you know, you don't have the surprise element should you not want that?
Cook them in a different pot.
And then it sounds like when somebody asks how much poppy seeds you use, it's just to your liking is the.
To your liking. Mm-hmm. And I have one more thing because you can also make like a blueberry sauce, or you can make apricot sauce. And then those were, I forgot what, so those were some ovocné knedlíky with the jahor, it's called. It's usually, I think it's known in the northern Bohemia part, v Jizerských horách a v Krkonoší. Jahor is kind of like a blueberry sauce. You boil blueberries and you can go from frozen or fresh with a little bit of water. And then you put sugar and a little bit of vanilla pudding to kind of thicken it. And you would pour that over your knedlíky and you can pour that over your yogurt or cottage cheese. You know, it has definitely more purposes or uses than just the dumplings. And that is delicious as well.
That sounds great. There are lots of compliments to all 3 cooks in the chat. saying how beautiful and wonderful everything looks. There's still somebody threatening to come to all of your homes and eat the various kinds of dumplings. And a lot of people are saying they learned a lot, and there have been some requests to do bread dumplings in the future, kolache in the future. And I think that's a real testament to what you three have been able to do for us here today. To the audience, you are welcome to keep asking questions at this point. And like I said, you're welcome to email Sokol San Francisco after the end of this session if you have any outstanding questions. Another thank you's coming in. Ladies, do you all want to show your knedliki at this point for one last hoorah?
And someone take a screenshot.
I do.
Flour, Danny.
Thank you.
Okay. I put some more yogurt on top. That makes them healthy.
Exactly. Oh, great. Wonderful feedback coming in. Well, thank you all so much. If there aren't any other questions, we hope you enjoyed this session and learned something about knedliki. It sounds like you did. We welcome you to try this on your own at home and to send us photos of your finished products. Send those to Sokol San Francisco events at gmail.com. If
Or
you
you can
It's
post
Sokol SF.
Sokol SF, Sokol SF at Gmail. Like
Sokol SF events.
Can I see one more time, please, the dumpling, each of them like for 5 seconds that I can make a screenshot and send you. It's very fast. The screenshot goes slowly. Thank you that I can send you.
Thank you. Here we go. Thank you so much.
Was it good?
Good.
Did you have time to do it, Simona?
Yes, one more time, please.
Okay, so here we go. Do you have yours? And go ahead and say something, Leah. That way we show up at the beginning of the
Okay.
reel.
Dobro chuť.
Dobro chuť.
Real quick to everyone.
Ladies, looks incredible.
Awesome. Yeah, I just wanted to say one more thing. If you like this
Mhm.
event, please subscribe to our newsletter. We've got other wonderful events like a hike coming up where you can walk off your knedliki, a gala where you can dance off your knedliki. That's coming up in November, and so much more, including another cooking demonstration that we'd like to have around the holidays, inspired by the holidays. Thank you again. Appreciate everybody being here, and
Thank
especially
you, everyone.
to the three chefs.
Nashledanou.
Nashledanou. Ahoj, nazdar.